Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Nama Prabhu Ki Jai. Welcome all of you for the 14th summary session of Soulful Japa. So we are today in cue card number 8. We have covered 1 to 7 and 1 to 7 bhavanas we have covered, and here and there 1, 2, 3, a few of them already I have filled up the modules also for pre-japa contemplation. Especially first two I have completed, so you can keep reading that again and again. And as I told you, for the sake of instructing, I am going one by one like this, mala by mala. Otherwise, you can choose to practice Shraddha Mala all 16 rounds for 1 week, then presencing for 1 week. Like that also you can do 1 week, 2 week. Because main thing is, in all this is not only the bhavana that you're training yourself. While training this bhavana, you're already training, you're consolidating your mind slice on concurrent chanting come hearing. Please understand that is the most crucial thing. When you are focusing on bhavana in each mala, don't dilute your attention from concurrent chanting and hearing that very chant with the golden command of Srila Prabhupada. That is a clue for the flow of all energy from Nama Prabhu. Otherwise, you are alone with your energy, you are chanting the rounds. Concurrent chanting come hearing for all these malas, a common factor. These bhavanas are not meant for you to think and generate the feeling during japa. Thinking and generating the feeling is contemplation, and that is off japa time exercise to prepare your subconscious chittam, and so that the background mind will play these feelings spontaneously and apply them on the current nama that is manifesting. So please understand these cautions, because whenever you practice something, as I told you, you don't do this, please don't do this, do this, do's and don'ts are there. You will be successful in any practice only if you follow the do's and don'ts. So I am giving you several do's and several don'ts. So this is one don't. While practicing, don't get lost in the bhavanas. This is not a stage for us to get lost in the bhavana. We have to focus on the nama, kriya chesta on the nama, then jnana chesta on the nama, karya chesta on the nama, and then the bhavana on the nama. So focus is on the sound Prabhu. Focus is not on kriya chesta, focus is not on jnana chesta, focus is not on kriya chesta, focus is not on bhavana. Focus is about kriya chesta on the current nama, focus is about karya chesta on the current nama, jnana chesta hearing on the nama, and bhavana linked up with the bhavana, with the offering, is an offering to the nama. In other words, in the midst of all these different practices, don't forget that everything is directed towards Nama Prabhu or sound Prabhu. When you say Nama Prabhu, he is sound. Nama Prabhu, don't visualize so many other things. N-A-M-A-P-R-A-B-U. When you say Nama Prabhu, it is Shabdha. He is a Shabda Prabhu, Shabda personality. When you are offering your feelings of bhavana, you are offering to the Shabda personality. Lord who has come into this material world in this body of a sound. So in the midst of so many things, you hear 100 malas, 100, almost 100 video sessions. Don't get lost into the details. Big picture should not be forgotten. The key missing point in most of the people's japa is hearing. And hearing means knowing to recognize. There is a general knowing, awareness. Okay, I know. General knowing. But another thing is knowing to recognize. Yeah, what did you say? Knowing is what? Something he said. Yeah, something you heard. Something he heard. But hearing to listen. No, I didn't get you. What did you say? That is knowing, that is called hearing. In the same way, knowing to recognize Hare, Krishna, Rama, and Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the string, to recognize that string, that is called hearing. They are small things, but one, you understand some key factors like this, you got it. You got connection with the Nama Prabhu, the incarnation, the Shakti Avesha Nama, whose mercy you will start receiving it. So today we shall discuss about the 8th mala, which is Bhakti Shakti Apeksha Mala. You are begging for the mercy of Bhakti Shakti, Bhakti Devi. You are begging for that flow of spiritual energy of Bhakti into your heart. Now you may say, what is this Bhakti Shakti you are bringing now, new thing? No, we have already discussed that. Just giving one name, that's all. We already discussed that. When you chant concurrently, chant and hear, I told you Nama Prabhu releases Divya Cheshta Shakti, Kriya Cheshta and Dhyana Cheshta Shakti. So much so that you love to chant and hear, chant. Means the doing part. Doing knowing the name you like. That Shakti gives you energy to chant bead after bead, wanting to chant bead after bead. It's a flow of energy. That is also Bhakti energy. Then there is this Karya Chesta. Leave that. Next, let us come to Hristam and Ahlada. Hristam and Ahlada are also Hristam is a delight that you take in welcoming the Lord. You are offering delight. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. You are welcoming the Lord. You are awaiting and welcoming the Lord. That is Hristam. And Ahlada is what? Once he comes, you are joyful in touching him, embracing him with your attention. This sound Prabhu can be embraced how? With attention, hearing him, with knowing attention, you can embrace him. It is a fact. that you are embracing God, but not with these material hands. With your attention, you are embracing. He should also allow, otherwise attention won't stay. Krishna cannot be captured like that. So if you are able to do attentive chanting, definitely it is a mercy of the Nama Prabhu. He has allowed you. Otherwise, whatever you do this way, that way, you will lose attention. Because the Lord, to allow your attention to stay on Him, we already heard, He gets purchased. It's a great privilege that the Lord allows somebody to do attentive chanting. Completely attentive, 16 rounds. And we already discussed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. God helps those who help themselves. If you struggle and struggle and struggle, then you'll be blessed. Just like the sparrow was trying to recover the egg from the ocean. Sparrow with its own capacity, it's impossible to have got back the eggs. In the same way, it is impossible for us to place our attention 16 rounds on the Nama Prabhu without the mercy of Nama Prabhu, without the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, his dear servant. It is not possible. Therefore, if you are able to do it, whenever you are able to do it, please always remember and thank Srila Prabhupada and Krishna for having given you association of uninterrupted chanting of 16 rounds. So now this round is about crying out my heart. My Lord, please, I yearn for the attachment to chant and hear you uninterruptedly. I cry out to you that my heart is dry of bhakti. I have no motivation. My mind is attached to so many things in this material world. Please give me your attachment so that all other attachment becomes dim before the fire of my attachment towards hearing you, Rama Prabhu. Give me that attachment to chant and hear you. Please give me, please give me. I know it is there. Nama Chintamani Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. You are the ocean of rasa. Your Nama Chintamani. You can release that rasa in my heart so that I become attached to your Nama. I become attached to, I jump in ahlada when I hear your name. When will that day come? My heart should jump with Krishna to welcome you anytime on my tongue. My Lord, please bless me. Nama Prabhu, please bless me. Please, this is a crying out round. You crying out to the Lord with feelings. When I am expressing, I am using language, crying for this, that, so many things I am speaking. But these are all very subtle self-talks that comes deep from within the heart when you meditate on these facts. You don't have to speak the language to communicate to Rama Prabhu your crying. To communicate to the Nama Prabhu that you are yearning for attachment to hear him, to chant him and hear him. And that attachment to chant him and hear him builds up, starting from Divya Chesta Ruchi, Jnana Chesta Ruchi, Kriya Chesta Ruchi, Jnana Chesta Ruchi. That means Kriya Chesta is chanting, effort, doing effort to chant. Jnana Chesta is knowing effort to hear. And that knowing effort, doing effort, tasking effort, a Divya Shakti flows into us to chant, to hear, to task. That is how Haridas Thakur could chant, 300,000 names. Energy comes from the Nama. As I told you, you start the engine with your starter. But with a starter, you cannot run the car. You start, the engine should fire, then engine will drive and charge back the battery. In the same way, Nama Prabhu's mercy every day is required. So uninterruptedly, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tap water, quantizing. Tap water, quantizing. Non-stop chant, one mantra, then quantize, nanosecond, then again next, nanosecond, again next, like that. Okay, so we were talking about how there is a flow of different kind of energies from Nama Prabhu that makes our experience of japa blissful, wonderful, energetic, delightful. It just does not depend upon you alone. Remember, I gave the example that if a guest comes to your house, a very dear guest comes to your house, after a long time he accepted the invitation and he came to your house. The whole family is very excited and delighted about you being present there. And when that guest sees that you are all delighted about his presence, he becomes delighted. Exactly in the same way, when you offer with delight, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You welcome with delight. When Krishna, Nama Prabhu sees you are welcoming him with delight, he is delighted. He is a person. He accepts bhakti. He is delighted. And when you see his delight, when you see the guest delight, what happens? That delight adds to your delight. You become more delightful. You understand these things? So in the same way, Nama Prabhu is touching our soul. He is a sound Prabhu, sound God, sound Prabhu. I'm trying to create different kinds of perceptions. Because normally we are all stuck to visual perceptions of God. Again, when you say sound, when Nama Prabhu, you think, in a mind you think, Hare Krishna, all that 16 words, letters you think. You should start thinking in terms, recognizing in terms of word. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Shabda Swarupa. So, when I offer delight and welcome the Nama Prabhu, it is natural to understand that Nama Prabhu will be pleased more than if I do ritualistically. And that pleasure of Nama Prabhu, you will feel in the heart. In the case of the guest in your house example, you could see, smile and get enthused again. Oh, very happy, very happy. I'm so happy. Then the guest will say, I am also so happy to be here because I know you all want me here. So there is both together enhance the delight. Your delight enhances the delight of the guest, and the guest's delight enhances your delight. The same thing happens in Nama Japa also. And here you saw the person smiling and you got delighted more. But in the case of Nama Japa, you will see that you are offering 10 units of delight, your heart is feeling 100 units of delight. Where is it coming from? You take one step, Krishna takes 9 steps. Total 10 steps you enjoy. So if you take delight in chanting, Hristam, from your hridaya, from your heart, Ishtam. Ishtam means I like. Hrishtam. I like. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ahlada means joy. I'm joyful that you are before me. I'm joyful. Now, the Nama is touching you. The joy from Nama, the delight from Nama, 9 times that delight, 9 times that joy is flowing into the heart, and you do not know. You gave little delight, little joy, but you are feeling so much delight, so much joyful in Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, like this. So these are all the Bhakti Shaktis that flow. And now the 8th round, tasking, again Preeti, everything. After the 7th round, 8th round is actually, I am saying, they all consolidate themselves into this. Let my heart be filled with Kripa from your side. Delight Kripa, Ahlada Kripa, Karya Siddhi Rasa. That means you will get so enthused to chant more and more and more and more and more and more and more, tasking more and more. These are all called Bhakti Shakti. Plus, over and above that, this is about doing potency. That is Chesta Shakti and Kriya Chesta, Karya Chesta. And this is Ananda Shakti. Chesta Shakti. Ananda Shakti is Hrishtam and Ahlada. Now there is Chitta Shakti. Chitta Shakti also flows into the heart of a devotee. When the Chitta Shakti flows into the heart of the devotee, Chitta means transcendental knowledge. Bhakti is not done out of ignorance. As your chanting becomes more and more perfect, there is a flow of transcendental knowledge into your heart. Chitta Shakti flows into your heart. Chesta Shakti means Sapta Shakti. Kriya Chesta, Jnana Chesta, that Shakti to do, Shakti to move matter, Shakti to do, this is all power. Power is about existence, and existence, power is related to moving existence. And existence is Sat. Krishna Mahalada is Ananda Shakti. And Chitta Shakti is transcendental knowledge. You get enlightened. We say, no, normally this man cannot see beyond his nose. Most of the people cannot see beyond their nose. That means they are lost in the small details. They don't have the big picture. The transcendental knowledge, who you are, what God is this world, what is existence, what is going on. Who am I? Why am I unhappy? All these questions will come and answers will also come. First, questions will come. Do you know many people don't want to ask questions at all? And typical example of those living entities who do not want to question are whom? Animals. They don't ask any question. Who is God? What is life? Nothing they ask. Similarly, there are many human beings. They are not interested in this. But when you chant, when you associate with Nama Prabhu not only gives you answers. First, he gives you the hunger and makes you ask questions. Only when you have hunger, then when the answer is given, it goes and fits there and it becomes jnana, transcendental knowledge. Everything comes from the Nama Prabhu. Today, if you come to Krishna consciousness not as a seeker of truth, just because, okay, prasadam is nice, dancing is nice, everything is nice, no problem. Very soon you will become a seeker of truth. You will ask what is Nama, what is Krishna, what is material world, what is suffering. You will ask. Because that is a asking question energy is also coming from the Lord. It's all Vidya Shakti. Chitta Shakti. Chitta Shakti means question and answers. If you have no questions, how can you enjoy jnana? How can you enjoy knowledge? Huh? If you have no hunger, how can you enjoy food? If you have no appetite, how can you enjoy? Similarly, Chitta Shakti, if you have to relish enlightenment, if you have to relish jnana, transcendental knowledge, you have to have hunger. Hunger for Chit is in the form of prashna, questions. So in this way, just imagine, association with Nama Prabhu opens our heart for transcendental Chit to flow inside. So this is all the Bhakti Shakti that flows into us. Not that, in Bhakti, one side you are sitting and then you are offering devotion, you are offering faith, you are offering, delight, Christam, and then nothing is happening from the other side, all you concoct yourself, and that's not what is happening during Japa. Japa, I told you, is a relationship. Relationship means two-way, not one way. And now this round is praying to the Lord, please. Thank you for flowing all these things. Please show mercy upon me. Still my heart is dry. Ocean of Amrita, ocean of taste is there in you, is all the declaration of the Shastras. Our Goswamis have declared, everybody has declared that this Nama Prabhu is the ocean of prasad. Nama Chintamani Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, quoted by Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I am reading it. In his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that this spiritual potency is the essence of pleasure potency and knowledge potency. By these two potencies, one is empowered with devotional service. Lord Krishna himself or his representative, the unalloyed devotee, can mercifully bestow these combined potencies upon any man. Being thus endowed with such potencies, one can become an unalloyed devotee of the Lord. Anyone favored by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was empowered with this Bhakti Shakti. Thus, the Lord's followers were able to preach Krishna consciousness by His divine grace. Just see, Bhakti Shakti has to come from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, this cue card 8 is related to the cue card 3. Somebody asked a question, 3 and 8, Sambandha. What is the Sambandha? There it is begging the Lord in the third cue card. It was begging the Lord to give us the vidhi, shakti to do offenseless japa. And the result of doing, what is the vidhi? Vidhi is distinctly chanting and carefully hearing, or chanting distinctly and sharply hearing, or chanting distinctly and knowing to recognize the shabda, that is hearing. So, that is the vidhi. Vidhi means how to do. So, we had asked Chaitanya, we have begged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as per vidhi, please give me Shakti, Bhala, spiritual Bhala, and Kriya. Kriya means skill. Skill is what? linked chanting, simultaneously, linked chanting. So the third cue card was about, please give me transcendental jnana, how to do japa. Please give me transcendental bhala and give me transcendental kriya, how to implement this vidhi. Knowing vidhi is one thing, implementing is another thing. Concurrent chanting and hearing. So that is about, third cue card. The eighth cue card is about, having done that, by your mercy, having done that delightfully, with tasking, I have done tasking. Please let the mercy flow of Divya Chestati come to that quote. Not my module thing, three points in the end. So as per cue card 2, 3, or as per cue card 4, 5, 6, Priti and 7, you have offered all these things. And in reciprocation, you offer delight, and his divine delight energy in response to your welcoming in with delight. You are anticipating Lord's delight. When you are delighted to get the guest in your house, when he walks in, when he sees your delight, if you also smile back and show delighted, will he not be happy? So that's what I am asking here in the 8th round. Please flow your delight into me. Similarly, I offer my joy in hearing you, and the Lord releases the joy, releases. First is his delight in hearing his name, and he is delighted when you hear his name joyfully. Then the third is, you are offering Karya Chesta. You don't want any gap, except, nanosecond gap between the beats. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, tasking, accumulation, one after the other, 1 blessing, 2 blessing, 3 blessing, 4 blessing, more and more, greedy. And then in reciprocation to Karya Chesta Shakti that you offer, 10 times, 9 times he offers, and then you find so energetic your chanting is. That is how you don't want to stop, even after 108 rounds, 150 rounds, you don't want to stop. These are all evidences that the Nama is not ordinary Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. The energy that it gives, energy it is come. This is Nama Avatara. And now, after all this, everything is not over. The real thing is not over. Real thing is not even begun. The real thing is Nama Ruchi. These are all, till now. There is a Nama Ruchi. Nama Ruchi is an intrinsic taste in the Nama. Just like you take a gulab jamun, put on your mouth, there is an intrinsic taste in it. That taste is in the object. Similarly, there is a taste in this object. That means taste in the Shabda. Hare, Krishna and Rama, in these 3 Shabdas, there is taste. That is Nama Ruchi. So initially, we start chanting Hare Krishna as per Guru's order, and the Lord incarnates into that sound and it becomes omnipotent sound, Satchidanandaized sound, and with your attention you touch the Satchidanandaized Shabda, and your Chitta gets influenced by the Satchit Ananda. And you know that Prakrita Nama, the transcendental name, Shuddha Nama, I am unable to access because of my covering of my material senses. And the Aprakrita Nama, he is present before me in his unmanifested form, transcendently unmanifested. Materially manifested as Shakti Avesha Nama, but transcendently unmanifested. Because my transcendental senses are not awakened, therefore I cannot hear him, I cannot chant him. But you know, he is present here before me. And he is so loving, so compassionate, he is right there. Now this bhakti, rasa, apeksha really means this. This is the additional thing. All the other shaktis I told you, Krishna, Mahaglada and Divya Chesta Shakti and Jnana Chesta Shakti and Kari Chesta Shakti, all these things you offer, and then from the Nama it flows into your heart. And you feel completely a delighted state of japa. Apart from that, deep within the heart, the devotee practices craving for the Shuddha Nama. It takes time, step by step. I am giving you all the theory. You understand this. There is no end to this. And when you crave for it, just like Dhruva Maharaj, Narada Rishi, even at the sadhana stage, they got a glimpse of the Lord. Similarly, we can get glimpses of Nama Prabhu. He is very merciful. To encourage us, he will give us glimpses of ecstasy, of that sweetness of hearing his Nama. That is left to his sweet will, when he wants, how he wants. But we should always know that who is before me? Nama Prabhu is the ocean of rasa. Surya of Satchidananda. So our serving delight, okay, that is a part, that is Nama Ruchi. So 1, 2, 3. 1, Kriya Chesta Ruchi. Result and Jnana Chesta Ruchi. That means you like hearing, you like doing chanting. And then there is Krishna, Ahlada. First is about energy, taste, energy taste. Then it is about your mind liking. I like chanting, I like hearing. Then I like tasking. And then you have to wait for Namaruchi. Namaruchi, 100% it has to come from the Nama Prabhu. But you should have full faith that it is there. All that I am doing, chanting, hearing, purifying, everything is one day I associate directly with my awakened spiritual mind, spiritual senses. I touch the Shuddha Nama. Does not matter how long it takes, but we crave and crave and crave and crave and crave. That is called laulyam. Laulyam means I want and want. Naturally, you cannot artificially want. Only when you know the value of something, you will want and want. Is it not? Laulyam is also a bhavana. To get that bhavana, you have to hear so much about Krishna, the glories of Krishna Nama, so much you hear. Not only hear, so much the glories of Nama has revealed to you and you become so attached. That is where I yearn for attachment for Nama Prabhu. It is not one time, suddenly you will get attachment. Slowly you will get attached to Nama Prabhu. hearing Nama Prabhu. Attached to Nama Prabhu means attached to hearing Nama Prabhu. Because he is sound Prabhu. Should get attached to sound Prabhu. Entire in Nama Japa, most important, sound. Sound incarnation of the Lord. So let me now just give you an overview of chanting versus hearing. Once in a while I should also revise for all of you. If you are not familiar, if some of you have forgotten, you can again go back to all the modules. By the way, now up to almost 69 module you can rely upon it. Mostly it won't change. It has been reordered nicely. By tomorrow I would put an index in the Japa module network. So you go there, click, you will go to that particular module. It is all Divya Cheshta Shakti. It is the Divya Chitta Shakti that has flown to reveal all these modules. So now let me tell you now under these two heads, chanting and hearing, for revising some of you. Chanting is action of Karmendriya. Hearing is an action of Jnanendriya. Chanting is Kriya Cheshta. Cheshta is a soul energy. Kriya Cheshta. When the Cheshta is to do something, it is called Kriya Cheshta. When the Cheshta is to know something through the Jnana Indriya, it is called Jnana Cheshta. I want to smell a perfume box, it is Jnana Cheshta. I want to hear, what did you say? This is Jnana Cheshta. How salty it is. You tell somebody, please taste this, no? It's called Jnana Cheshta. Is it all very difficult to understand? Don't get bewildered by all these big words, Jnana Cheshta, Kriya Cheshta. First you should demystify these words. But these words are all actual, what we do. And all nonsense things, so much Kriya Cheshta, Jnana Cheshta, Ichcha, Asha, wow. We throw around like anything, we go mad with desire, we go mad with enthusiasm. All nonsense things which don't even last few seconds, few years it doesn't last. Life itself doesn't last few years. What difference it makes to the entire Atma Shakti when it is applied on the eternal Nama Prabhu who is before us. All our desire, Ichcha Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Bhavan Shakti. In module number 3 I have listed all these things. Okay, so we will come. So Kriya Cheshta, Jnana Cheshta. Now, action is output activity. You are doing something. You are giving out. Just like you are calling from your side. Calling the Nama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then there is Jnana Cheshta. Hearing is a taking in. Yes or no? Jnana Cheshta is taking in from something outside. You are taking in. What are you taking in? The sound. Hearing. So hearing is a input activity. Chanting is an output activity. Karma Indriyas are meant to give output into this world. Jnana Indriyas are meant to give you input from the world into your mind. Therefore, I told in earlier modules, one of the important discovery is hearing is not a doing. Don't try to hear, but as a doing, as if it's a doing. To do, I have to chant, I have to move my tongue properly, chant properly, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Then you will move your tongue and lips properly. Suppose I tell you, hear properly. Does your ear suddenly become like this? No, you don't need anything. You need, Jnana Indriya requires mind. Whether you hear or not, the sound will go and fall on your eardrum. So many sounds are falling on the eardrum, but what you want, you will hear. That means the mind is the one that hears. Knowing activity. Then the vidhi is chanting. How to chant? Chant distinctly. How to hear? Hear carefully. Or know, to recognize. Then chanting is a leading chesta and hearing is a following chesta. Because if you don't chant, then you cannot hear, no? The first chesta, leading chesta, is always chanting. So in one sense you can say, japa is a doing, assisted by knowing. Japa is a doing. Welcoming nama, chanting amounts to welcoming nama, and hearing amounts to associating with nama. Chanting is welcoming, hearing is associating with nama. So how important it is? You welcome and you don't associate. You are not taking full benefit. You welcome a guest in your house, right? He's going to stay 2 days, and most of the time you are sleeping. Are you taking benefit of his association? No. And how should we chant? With what attitude we should chant? Delightfully chant. And hearing? Joyfully hear. Delightfully hear. And chanting establishes attention connection, and hearing amounts to attention embrace. You get the feel of it? Because by chanting attentively, by chanting, you get the connection to Nama Prabhu through attention. And then that attention, when you hold on to the hearing, then it is called attention embrace. So these are some of the things that I wanted to explain to you in this regard of Bhakti Shakti. Transcendental knowledge, flow of transcendental knowledge is so important. You chant for a few years, you won't be talking like the way you are talking now. The way you see the world will change. Actually, it is very amazing. I remember once when I was first, in 1979, I was visiting ISKCON Bombay from IIT. So I used to go to Juhu from IIT in Powai. I used to go to Juhu and then come back, so there is a bus, train, all combination. So one day I was standing in a queue, bus stand queue, BST stand, bus stand queue. And then next to me one sadhu was there in saffron. He was about 50 years old. So generally I am going to ISKCON and all those things. Generally slowly I develop some reverence towards saffron and Swamiji. While waiting for the bus stand, I was asking him, I was in my pant and shirt. He didn't know I was a devotee or anything, no tilak, nothing. So I asked him, curiosity, you think this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare is a very powerful mantra? I asked him. He looked at me and said, yeah, very powerful. You chant for 12 years, you won't see what you are seeing today, he said. Basically, you are saying that you will start seeing the world differently. I don't know, that person was a Mayavadi or a personalist or whatever it is. In those days, I didn't know how to differentiate. He was wearing saffron. 50 years old, older man. I am just 23 years old, 22 years old. I asked him. And even now I remember that. Now I understand exactly. After a few years, I understood what it is. We get jnana chakshus. We get the eyes of knowledge. Shastra chakshus. You see the world. Just like how we see now differently coronavirus. How we see the misery of this world. As a karmi, we could never have seen without spiritual knowledge. So such is the power of the holy name. So the Chitta Shakti that flows in our heart gives us understanding of everything. Question of time. No ignorance. No ignorance. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna Nama Prabhu ki Jai.